And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bubba and the Bloom, episode 169. We're here to preview your week 26 FAAB, your penultimate week of FAAB, talk about some news and much, much more as we usually do on this wonderful show. You can find me on Twitter at BDintric, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at Ryan BHQ. Ryan Bloomfield, how we doing, my friend?
Coming in with the fancy words already. Penultimate.
Bringing it.
I like it.
Bringing it.
I like it. I was thinking about that earlier today. We have gone through, not to pat ourselves on the back, but we've done this every single week for 26 weeks, and we have not missed a Thursday night all year. So hopefully we'll continue that. We'll definitely continue that trend tonight. Continue it next week. Hopefully it's helped everyone out, and we are competing for fantasy titles these last 2 weeks. That's what we're here to do tonight is sort out this next week for you all. But yeah, to get through every Thursday, the entire season, as we all know, it's a long season. I think we've done pretty good.
I think so too. And like we've always said, it helps us out as we do our written content and just our FAAB in general. So it's always a fun one in that regard and gets us ready to rock and roll. And as Stephen Crawford in the chat says, the boys are crushing it this season. Love the Thursday night show to help prep for the next week. That's the goal. So thanks, Stephen. Much appreciated on that. Before we get into a little bit of news, hasn't been a whole lot since we last spoke, Ryan. I'll let you plug FPAS again. We can talk about it on Tuesday. So like we say, we don't want to overwhelm everybody, but once a week's not too bad. So what do you got for the latest and greatest for First Pitch Arizona?
Yeah, I guess once a week isn't too bad. We've got still time to register. You can register up until the week of, but we're 6 weeks away? Something like that.
Pretty close.
7 weeks.
About midway through Halloween. September. Yeah.
And so if you want to come hang out with us, see us, we will after the season, we will do a beer bets episode. If you want to see us pay each other in beer or high noon bets, that's where it's going to go down at First Pitch Arizona. But would love to see listeners out there. Still got a couple of tee times available for golf if anyone's interested on November 3rd. We've got Scott in the chat, booked his plane tickets tonight. That is awesome. And Scott's also playing golf with us. So October 31st, November 3rd, just Google First Pitch Arizona. The program's up and out. It's not final, but it's some exciting stuff. Of course, headlined by our hopefully Friday night live podcast. That'll be electric. And that one I absolutely can't wait for. So yeah, if you're on the fence, come on out. Southwest it's got an email today, $50 flights, like in October. They're always running sales. So any questions about the whole deal, let either of us know.
For sure. Like I know people are probably sick of it, but it's a great time. It's an amazing time.
Yeah,
for baseball fans and fantasy fans. It's not just fantasy. It's like baseball in general. It's a great time.
Exactly. We have nothing to gain by plugging it. We just have a good time and like to hang with people. So the more we can do that, the better.
And the one reason I think at least I'll speak for myself, really like it is this is where Ryan and I concocted this thing we're doing here. Like we just kind of had a couple drinks, couple morning breakfast at the hotel, and this thing was born. So it's kind of a fun little deal in that regard as well.
Yep.
All right, a little bit of news and notes, like I said, not a whole lot. Last we spoke, Ronaldo Lopez left his start. We speculated he was good on the IL. Since we've last talked, Ronaldo Lopez is officially on the IL with a shoulder inflammation. MRI's clean. They're suspecting he might come back for one start this year. He's done for me when it comes to fantasy. I think they want him for the postseason, if anything. And we still don't know. Is it going to be Grant Holmes? Right. Is it going to be AJ Smith-Shawver? That's the $1 million question that they will have to answer this weekend because his spot in the rotation will be coming up this weekend. But any other thoughts on this one, Ryan? Because I think we talked about it a lot last week, but it's official at least.
Yeah, and I think when we last talked about it, I brought up Holmes, you brought up Smith-Shawver. I think for fantasy purposes, we'd rather see Smith-Shawver just because Holmes is not stretched out enough. Holmes can get there, but it takes time, and time is something we don't have over these last 2 weeks. So if you're trying to stream pitchers and get wins and Ks, it might be hard for Grant Holmes, who has not pitched over 30 pitches or thrown over 30 pitches in each of his last two outings. So I just think it'll take a little bit too long for Holmes to get stretched out. So keep an eye on if it's AJ Smith-Shawver. I think we're interested in FAAB. Holmes a little bit less so, unless it's in some kind of like piggyback role or something like that.
Yep, with you on that. Chas McCormick of the Houston Astros has been a massive fantasy disappointment and one of my big L's on the season. He hits the IL with a fractured wrist. It'll end his fantasy season for us. Ben Gamble is getting some playing
Yeah.
time in that stint. But what are you looking at here? Because Tucker is supposed to start playing the outfield next week.
Oh yeah, I did not realize he was DH only, which makes sense. I'm not in. I mean, if it's not Gamble, it might open up Jason Hayward hasn't played, but he did. I think homer tonight.
He homered on Thursday. Yeah,
started on Thursday night. So maybe in a right-hand heavy week, which Houston has, they get 6 righties this coming week. So maybe Jason Hayward, if he plays this weekend, is interesting in FAAB. Outside of that, man, you don't want Ben Gamble. You do not want Ben Gamble.
No, you don't want to gamble on Ben Gamble. That is for sure. Last bit of news here is the Cardinals called up another prospect. They've been doing this of late, which is kind of fun. They called up Thomas Saggese of the one of the big prospects that they have here. He plays second base and shortstop. He's played second and shortstop actually since he's been called up. Got his first 2 career hits on Thursday. What are your thoughts on this one, Ryan, when it comes to Mr. Saggese?
Professional pronunciation there, because it does not sound like Saggese. Saggese for those taking notes on stone tablets at home, like Bubba. I'm not I think the Cardinals will play Saggese. He has started, I believe, each of the 3 games that he's been up, so that's a positive, and that's again might sound like a broken record at this point, but if the playing time's there over these last 2 weeks, that's all you need, because trying to project what these guys are going to do over 2 weeks is almost impossible. That said, Saggese league average at AAA had a 92 WRC plus. League average on that is 100, so it was just slightly below average. 20 homers, 9 steals, hit 250 at AAA with kind of league average plate skills. So nothing super impressive in terms of like a short-term impact. But again, the playing time will be there long-term. A lot of the prospects guys like Saggese, so I like that. I think where I land on Saggese for FAAB, at least for these next 2 weeks, is if you're kind of desperate up the middle. I think there's some other middle infield options. We'll talk about like Otto Lopez later for Miami, who gets 6 games this coming week is probably a better option. But Saggese, if you need somebody up the middle, I think he's going to play, and you can't really ask for too much more than that.
Yeah, they sent Victor Scott back to AAA, so that second round of experience was so much fun for those that went back to that well, but just wanted to throw that one back out there. One bit of news here from Michael C. in the chat. He said Tyler Fitzgerald has a back injury. Yeah, he left in the 3rd inning with lower back tightness, so I'll have to monitor that one going forward, because that's a big blow to my 2025 team, but also to the 2024 roster as we speak. So that would sting, as the Giants don't have much to play for, so he's going to have to be healthy to come back. Means Marco Luciano probably, so don't pick him up, so I'm going to throw out there real quick. All right, with that being said, let's get into it, Ryan. Let's talk about the 26th week of FAAB here. Looking at the schedule, what stands out to you this week?
I mean, so the biggest thing is there's a lot of baseball. There is a lot of baseball to be played in this penultimate week. I think pretty much half the teams have 7 games, the other half has 6 games, and no teams have 5 games. So there's not really much of a volume edge going into these last 2 weeks. The thing that I will at least throw out there, and this is probably a little bit of a branch off, but just like general strategy these last 2 weeks, is you want the volume to be there, but I think we need to start looking at which teams are in races, which teams are not, which teams eventually may be clinching and not playing their regulars. That stuff is going to greatly impact playing time over these last 2 weeks, as well as, and we can't really recommend, based on your league settings, but the biggest thing for pickups is categories at this point. It does not matter if you are, I know we got a couple questions about like saves and whether to like drop good closers at this point, which I think is a decent idea if it doesn't affect your categories. In Roto Leagues, categories are absolutely everything. If you're good in stolen bases and you have Jose Caballero in a deep league, you should probably drop him, because he does nothing else other than steal, and stolen bases do nothing for you. So I think you need to be rigorous on your cuts in that regard. but also just keep a tune to which teams are in races, which teams are kind of auditioning for next year. I think of like the Marlins with Connor Norby getting everyday playing time at or near the top of that lineup. Those are good things, but then you also we will start to see these pitcher shutdowns and even some hitter shutdowns on teams that are out of the race, like perhaps Tyler Fitzgerald.
Yep, it's definitely something to monitor. There's going to be a lot of full tilt moments. Talked about it on Tuesday's show. There's been a lot of after locks, like even Alex Cobb. I should have put that on the outline. Alex Cobb went back on the IL on Thursday with the blister. Yeah, and we were loving his potential starts this week, and none of the blister talk was going around last week, and people picked him up. I know I picked him up in a couple places, and there was a lot of those kind of after lock Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday now, guys getting IL stints. All of a sudden, there's guys getting platoon. Xavier Edwards is not playing versus lefties all of a sudden. Like, there's just a lot of what is going on with guys we trusted and what can we do going forward. And eventually, it's got to set your best lineup, and cross your fingers is not what you want to hear, but that's kind of where we're at right now. That's just the reality of the situation.
Yep.
All right, let's kick it off as we always do with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have 7 games coming up this week. They get to go to Colorado for 3, then Milwaukee for 3, 6 righties on the docket for the Arizona Diamondbacks, which means, we always want to say it's the Jock Jams week, but Jock Jams is long gone in most formats, well, at least in NFBC. If you're in Yahoo's, he's probably widely available still. What else looks good to you this week when it comes to the Arizona Diamondbacks?
I wonder if Pavin Smith is a good idea. I know he had that huge kind of 3-homer game right before FAAB ran on Sunday. Yeah. But on the season, it's just been 107 plate appearances for Pavin Smith, 16% strikeout rate, 14% barrel rate. So not many strikeouts and a ton of hard hit balls. And this is a guy who is supposed to be playing every day against right-handed pitching. And Arizona, like you said, Bubba, gets those 6. And I think, 3 in Coors. I don't know if maybe it's 2 righties in Coors.
Like 2 righties, yeah.
Yeah. So a good week to stream Pavin Smith if you need some corner infield help. I think he's going to play. I also wonder, and I've mentioned this over the past, Josh Bell is starting to lose playing time. Yep. And I'm wondering if he is now a drop in 15-teamers. I have Josh Bell on the bench and probably my most important 15-teamer, and I'm thinking about dropping him because he's only started 3 of the last 6 games. That writing's been on the wall since Christian Walker came back, and again with Pavin Smith hitting well, that also goes in the mix as well.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's a fair discussion point because Jock Jams will DH for 6 games most likely. So where does that leave Josh Bell? So that's a fair drop. Pavin Smith 0% rostered in OCs, which is fun. I could see the appeal because he's basically platooning with Randall Grichuk, like you said. So he'll get 6 games. I'm going to say this again. Adrian Del Castillo, at first, I'm like, oh, he sits for his lefties. Now he's just in this. Him and Jose Herrera are just splitting all the time. There's no, because it was a lefty. Castillo started, sat versus 2 lefties, started versus righty, sat versus righty. To me, there's no rhyme or reason with it. So like I said a week or 2 ago, you can drop Del Castillo. I dropped him. I think he's very good, but I know some people are still pumping him up there. I think it's time to move on from that situation, unless you're like in the deepest of deepest leagues and you need a catcher too. So I want to throw that out there as well if you're still holding on to Adrian Del Castillo. Other than that, not a whole lot else going here. The pitching staff's pretty much locked in. The one question someone asked me recently in my Substack is Ryan Nelson. What's going on with Ryan Nelson? He's scheduled for a 2-step next week, so I would not get too worried because they skipped him this past week.
What do you mean? Okay.
It's based on scheduling, so I wouldn't get too worried there. He's just the odd man out if they don't need a starter, essentially.
Yeah, Nelly Nasty has been nasty in the second half. You roll with him if even in Coors, and certainly if the 2-step comes through.
Most definitely. Atlanta Braves, they have 7 games as well this week. They have the fun whole wraparound series stuff here. They play Monday against the Dodgers in Atlanta. Then they go to Great American for 3, which is oh so glorious. Then they head to Miami for 3, so great matchups, just not the ballpark upgrade. So really good schedule here for the Braves. 1 lefty, 6 righties. But Ryan, there's usually not a whole lot to go add when it comes to the Braves.
No, there is a new name, however. There is Kevin Biggio.
I was wondering if you were going there.
When I was prepping for the show, I was like, I was like, wait a minute, Kevin Biggio's on the Braves now, and then I
called
saw
up on Wednesday.
But then I saw he got traded. He got traded from the Giants, and then I was like, Kevin Biggio was on the Giants.
He got DFA'd by the Dodgers. The Giants picked him up. He never made it really with the big. I don't even think he got called up to the Giants.
I don't think because
they let him go.
Yeah, I mean. That's bad to not know a player's on a team, but then it's maybe even worse to not know he was on the team that he got traded away from. But that's been the story of Kevin Biggio. For all that said, I don't think Kevin Biggio is an ad. He might get regular playing time against 6 righties. Sure. So if you're desperate up the middle, I'd take a stab at Sajasi over him. And then there's over Biggio. And then there's always Jared Kelenic if you need an outfielder, but he hasn't been that great, but will play against 5 righties. Outside of that, I don't have much. It's just keep an eye on the Grant Holmes, AJ Smith-Shawver situation. Keep an eye on the Whit Merrifield thing has been frustrating, more so for him than me. He got hit in the head with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he fractured his foot all in the same week. So that's rough. Hasn't played in each of the last 5 games for Whit Merrifield, which would certainly, if he stays out, Kevin Biggio would get more playing time. But I don't know. These are all deep league ads. Yep,
very, very deep league ads. Baltimore Orioles, they have 6 games coming up this week, all at home. 3 versus the Giants, 3 versus the Tigers. Those some friendly matchups there. 2 lefties, 4 righties. But again, it's Baltimore, so where are you looking at on this?
Not really anywhere. I mean, you do get your Ryan O'Hearn with a 4. It's always that fringe. Do you start a platoon guy when they have 4 right-handed pitchers? So O'Hearn maybe. Cedric Mullins continues to hit well, though has more home runs than barrels, which is not really a good thing. Him and Cedric Mullins and Nolan Arenado are the only 2 hitters in baseball with more homers than barrels. I was doing some Bloom Boards work earlier today, and that came up. Outside of that, I got nothing here, man. Albert Suarez, your boy, is a 2-step.
Yeah,
you seem to nail his. You seem to nail his good and bad start. So what do you think about his 2-step this week?
It's a great 2-step. Giants and Tigers, I'm rolling him if you got him. I think he's worth an ad as annoying as he can be. But you look at him right now, he's 62% rostered in NPCOCs. He should be a target this week in 2-steps if you need volume. Now, if you are good in volume and you're worried about ratios, maybe Suarez ain't your dude. But he's actually been decent with ratios too. He's just very tilting because he'll blow up out of nowhere. So, Suarez is a good one that I had written down here as well. Boston Red Sox, they have 6 games coming up this week, 3 at Tampa Bay, 3 at home versus Minnesota, all right-handed pitching for Boston. But again, this is a broken record already. I'm not too interested in what's probably available out there.
No, I mean, your lefties are already accounted for, right? Wilyer Abreu, Masataka Yoshida, and Tristan Casas, who is not playing against lefties right now. Tristan Casas is a platoon bat, but that doesn't matter for this week with all 6 righties. Trevor Story was, I would think, universally picked up last week.
Only 50% in OCs. It's crazy.
Really? Only 50? Yep. Trevor Story, only 50%. Okay, so it is noteworthy that Trevor Story has pretty much played all but 1 game since he's come back. So the playing time is there. This isn't someone just kind of getting reps and sitting every other day. Trevor Story, if he's still available, I think stole a base already this week, hasn't homered yet, but Trevor Story's good and could be pretty strong in spurts and is playing pretty much every day. He'll probably get an off day every, a day each week, but who isn't at this point for teams that aren't in the race. So I like Story.
Yep, Story should be one of the best ads out there, especially for middle infield help. He's definitely one you should be targeting if available. Chicago Cubs, they have 7 games coming up this week, all in Wrigley, which is always great. 3 versus the Oakland Athletics, 4 versus the Washington Nationals. And they get 2 lefties and 5 righties as Trevor Williams looks to be back. Because at first I saw the Nats, I'm like, that's at least 3 or 4 lefties. But it's only 2 lefties this week. So 2 lefties, 5 righties for the Cubbies. Too bad PCA's well rostered these days.
Yes. Good God, that guy is so good in center field. basically gave Shota Imanaga a win earlier this week with I think 3 really good catches in the same game against the Dodgers. Yeah, there's nothing on the Cubs that is worth picking up. The good guys are taken. This lineup is stagnant. Like they roll the same crew out there pretty much every day. Porter Hodge is locked in as the closer, despite that was weird. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
He had like some kind of breathing problem on the mound, but still closed out the save the other night.
Second time this year that's happened.
Okay. Yeah, that's
not good. Not good.
That is always scary, but seems like he's okay if he finished out the game. But
it seems like it's like an anxiety thing, because once he takes a couple seconds to like regain his calmness, he's fine. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm no doctor, but the fact he can get normal or back to normal like that makes me think it's not as much of a real like, it's not like a Kenley Jansen can't go to Colorado thing. Yeah. So that's where I'm going with that. All right. The fun one that we usually just walk right past every week here, the Chicago White Sox. They are on the road for 6, 3 at the Angels, 3 at the Padres, 2 lefties, 4 righties. Ryan.
So, yeah, we're flipping this like we always do with the White Sox. It's not which White Sox to pick up. It's who to pick up against the White Sox. Yep. And it's as you have said the last couple of weeks, it's Griffin Canning. So if we listen to Bubba, which sometimes is a good idea, sometimes not. I'd say more often than not it is.
It's like probably 60-40, maybe 65-35. Yeah, that's fair.
We'll go something like that. Griffin Canning. Hey, I'm probably 35-65 this year. So what am I talking about? You've got Griffin Canning. You've got this Jack Kohanowitz is the proper pronunciation. That he was allergic to strikeouts, but is pitching against the White Sox. And then Aldegari, Musgrove's taken. Martin Perez is taken. New father, Martin Perez, is taken, and Yu Darvish. So Canning, Kohanowitz, and Aldegari are good pickups if you're trying to stream pitchers against the Chicago White Sox this week.
And remember, if you and just for funsies, if you want to speculate even farther, Canning gets his final 2 starts are both versus the White Sox. Yep. Same with Kohanowitz or Kohanowitz, however you say that. And Aldegari, of course. So you have fun in those worlds. Actually, looking at this, Aldegari does not get the White Sox right now. It looks like it's Detmers, Canning, and Kohanowitz this week. We'll see.
Okay.
Subject to change. No, I was Aldegari gets right. Houston. Aldegari gets Houston. That is my fault.
It's Kohanowitz, Canning, and Detmers. And Detmers, a lefty against the White Sox, is even more. Better. I mean, Jesus. So,
but what I was going to throw out here is Aldegari does get the White Sox next week, which is a plus. Another lefty versus the White Sox. And then if you just want to go ahead, Keider Montero, who just threw a shutout, he gets his last start versus the White Sox. So if you want to speculate early for stuff, and you just want to target the White Sox, these are dudes to start playing with for sure.
Yep, and that's certainly a viable thing to do, is look at streamers for next week and pick them up now, because they will
have the dollars. You have the dollars, because next week everyone's just unloading whatever they have left. So you want to do it now. And Detmers is only 62% rostered in OCs right now. So he's quite viable as well. I literally just wrote down 4 Los Angeles Angels pitchers. That tells you where we're at right now, folks. That's fun stuff.
That's scary.
That's the penultimate episode. Right. Cincinnati Reds. Here we go. It feels like it's been so long since we've got Great American Small Park, but we get a full week in Cincinnati against the Braves and the Pirates, 3 against each. But it's 3 lefties and 3 righties, Ryan. So it's just like, it seems like that's how it was last time they had a week in Cincinnati. We get this whole conundrum of what to do, but they're not platooning a lot, given it's been mainly righties of late. But they haven't done a lot of platooning. So anything interest you here?
That's what I was going to say is like Jake Fraley, despite the 3-3, is at least started their most recent game against a lefty, which was last Saturday. So Jake Fraley probably still sits a game or 2, but every other game is in Great American Small Park. So that might not be too bad. It is wild to see Noel V. Marte lose his job to Santiago Espinal, who I don't even know if this is that pick upable. He's kind of a batting average guy without much else, Santiago Espinal. But if you're in super deep leagues, I think this is a guy who going to play every day in that ballpark and get those 6 games and play third base. So if you're desperate, Santiago Espinal, I'd love to see Ahmed Rosario play more. Been DHing kind of half the time, but I can't recommend someone with half playing time. And Noelvi Marte is, if you haven't said goodbye already, like I think I still have him in a 15 teamer. I don't know why. It's drop city there.
Yep. See you, buddy. Maybe next year is how that one's going to play out. Cleveland Guardians, they have 7 games coming up this week. They have the Minnesota Twins at home for 4 and then 3 at the St. Louis Cardinals, all right-handed pitching to face the Cleveland Guardians. But what are we like? Are we still going Kyle Manzardo if available? Because he sat for 3 games and he played 3 games. So who knows what's going on there. Bo Naylor's actually been quasi-productive if you need a deep league catcher, but seems like most guys are pretty rostered here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bo Naylor in 2 catcher leagues. Yeah, Manzardo disappointing I don't know if he was hurt or what. Because did not start last weekend or on Monday, but then has started Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. Hasn't done much. Speaking of not doing much, after hitting 7 home runs in August, Jhonkensy Noel, big Christmas has been pretty awful in whatever month this is, September. He's 2 for 23. And, this is a guy we have talked about this, just given the plate approach, given the kind of full power or nothing. This is a guy who is going to have these ebbs and flows. Right now it's a flow or an ebb. I don't know which, peaks and valleys. We'll go with valleys.
It's a valley right now.
What's an ebb and a flow? Which one's positive? Which one's negative?
That's a great question. I'm going to guess flow is positive, but that's a question for a smarter show.
Maybe someone in the chat knows. Just call us idiots. But anyway, Jhonkensy Noel, for as good as he was, you might just see his name in your lineup and be like, oh yeah, he's been mashing. Not so much in September, which is noteworthy. But I still think you roll with him. He's still playing, and you're getting 7 games. So if you've got him and you don't have better alternatives, I think Noel is decent still. Yeah,
no, I benched him this week. I haven't dropped him yet, but he could be an option if I need something else this week. I was kind of stressing. I was stressing out when it was between him and Torque, and I added Noel everywhere, and the Torque was hit 2 home runs. Well, Torque isn't doing anything either, so makes you feel a little better about that one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Noel hits 3 homers next week. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes another 2 for 20.
Yeah, he's very much a streaky player. And Michael C, you got that. Ebb equals valley, so flow is the good one. Yep, I thought so. Nailed it. Yeah. Something like that. Colorado Rockies, they have 6 games next week. They have the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3 in Colorado at Coors Field, and then head to LA to face the Dodgers for 3. 1 lefty and 5 righties. But this is the Colorado Rockies, Ryan. So are we flipping it like it's the White Sox here? Or do you have any bats you're interested in?
No bats. I mean, Toglia's been hot, but I don't know. Jordan Beck hit a home run tonight, but you're not doing that either. No. Victor Vodnik is back. However,
yes, he is.
However, Kinley got the save on Thursday, so I don't know if just Vodnik wasn't available or what, but Vodnik may be back, but may not totally have the closer role. I would think he does, but Kinley got the save today, so who knows?
It was typical Rockies fashion because they said he'd get back his closer's role. The first day he's back, Kinley got the save. Now Kinley gets another save. It's Rockies being Rockies, folks. Like, it's just one of those things that, is it worth stressing out about? Probably not. Just move on. Because Vodnik was great when he was the closer. But right now, if he's not guaranteed to be locked in, I'm just not going to stress out about it, basically.
So if we do flip this, you can't throw E-Rod at Coors Field with your season on the line. Like, that's a death wish.
If I had to pick anybody, I'd rather throw E-Rod over Bobby Miller.
If Bobby Miller even makes that start, I don't know how the Dodgers keep throwing him out there.
No, because they're already clinching the postseason pretty much. They need someone to eat innings until they get everybody back. That's what it comes down to.
Bobby Miller has been absolutely terrible. But so the pitchers against Colorado for good podcasting, it's Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, E-Rod, Bueller, Yamamoto, and maybe Bobby Miller.
Well, they might. RotoWire is now saying Glass now could come back, and so Miller gets bumped, which would make a lot of sense.
That would make a lot of sense if Glasnow comes back. I saw that too. I think Glasnow is going to do some kind of simulated game this weekend, and then if that goes well, Glass now. It's actually, I mean, I know we're not on the Dodgers, but I don't even know if Glass now is a start next week because I don't know if he goes 5.
No, they're just trying to get him ready for the postseason.
Exactly.
I would not get too excited on that one. I'm going to say this, and I know we'll talk about this when we talk Cardinals again, but Lance Lynn is 34% rostered, came back off the IL, looked good. He gets the Rockies next week at it's in Coors, but he gets the Rockies, so that's not a bad stream for your final week. I'll throw that one out. A lot of strikeouts, at least. Keep that in mind.
And a lot of sweat.
Whole lot of sweat, man. I was watching him pitch last night, and boy, when he's resting when he gets he's in the stretch, he rests his glove on his belly. It's impressive. It's like that's something I would do like in slow pitch softball or something when I'm just like bored. But that's because I'm playing beer league softball. It's a professional athlete, folks. It's a professional athlete. Like that. That's
what I do with my brew on the couch.
Yeah, no. I was just watching this going, man, if I knew how to like Photoshop stuff, I'd have so much fun with this. But yeah, it's impressive. He's just a grizzly man out there. It's awesome. Detroit Tigers. They have 6 games coming up this week, all on the road. 3 at the Kansas City Royals, 3 at the Baltimore Orioles, 2 lefties, 4 righties for Detroit. Man, this offense is so much fun to watch, but most of the key pieces are taken. I will give you props. Trey Sweeney keeps hitting well. You've mentioned him a few times, but anything you're interested in here?
I was going to go back to that this week because I don't even think Trey Sweeney is rostered in 12-teamers.
0%. That is correct. Yep.
So yeah, Trey Sweeney has 2 stolen bases, 6 barrels in his first 66 plate appearances, and has deservedly so. Yeah, a couple homers, deservedly so, taking over the everyday shortstop role in Detroit. Agree with you that this is a fun offense with Parker Meadows doing his thing at leadoff. Parker Meadows is pretty much widely rostered at this point, but Riley Green is back too. So Detroit is not the offense that you think you want to stream against. I mean, they've got some down spots, but overall pretty good. But yeah, Trey Sweeney, middle infield option. I would take him over to kind of take this full circle. Sajasi in FAAB this week.
Yeah, good call. I was going to ask you how you felt on that one. And your boy Winfield Perez got back activated off the IL on Thursday. So
he was my boy, I guess, wasn't he?
Yeah. Don't think he's going to play much, but he's back in case there's an injury. He could slide in because Kerry Carpenter's back also, so that kind of takes that away. So
yeah, yep.
Houston Astros. They have 7 games coming up this week. They have 3, or is that 4? But that's 3. Oh, yeah, 3 at the Padres, 4 at home versus the Angels. Anderson was throwing me off. I forgot it's the Angels, not the Dodgers. So pretty nice schedule if you can get bats in Houston. But the question is, like you said, it's 1 lefty, 6 righties. Is it Jason Hayward or bust, or what are we looking at here?
It's probably bust over Jason Hayward. Yeah, I got nothing on the hitting side. We kind of talked about Houston at the top with the Chas McCormick fallout. I'm more interested to see what they do with the rotation. Because they've got 6-man right now, but like I don't know what they do about old man Verlander. He does not look good right now. I mean, I guess they're gonna stay in a 6-man, but he's got to figure stuff out because it's been ugly lately.
Yeah, they said they're gonna go 6-man for the rest of the way, so we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, so for those that maybe drop Blanco's back this week, but then again, they have an off day next week, so they might go back to 5-man. So you might get Blanco versus the Angels this week. And then maybe no more Blanco again, goes back to the bullpen. So keep an eye on that. He is 87% rostered, so not a whole lot you can do there, but they've been kind of yo-yoing him around. Verlander should be the guy that leaves, but we know money talks and stuff walks.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. All right, Kansas City Royals, they have 6 games coming up this week, all at home. 3 versus the Tigers, 3 versus the Giants, 3 lefties, 3 righties. Makes things mighty difficult, my friend.
It does. All I had here was, and it's tough to start my guy Mount Massey, who homered yet again this week. He keeps doing his thing, and does play a little bit against lefties. So, in deeper leagues, maybe I'll still roll with him in my 15-teamers. But the only thing I have here is we were wondering with Hunter Renfroe coming back what that would do to Tommy Pham, and Tommy Pham seems to be entrenched in the leadoff role, hitting in front of Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez. So you could do a lot worse than Tommy Pham in your outfield right now. As I say that, Pham is 100% rostered in OCs, which I thought would be much lower. So I don't know. But FAAB if he's available.
If available, I'm totally behind you on that one. That's a good one. In the chat here, Michael C did mention Reese Olson returns. He's pitching this weekend, I believe, for Detroit. We'll see how that goes. Or it's one more rehab start this week and then Reese returns. But I'm not sure how much they want to push him with nothing to gain. So we'll see how that one pans out with the Detroit Tigers. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, they have 7 games coming up this week. They have 3 at home versus the White Sox, 4 at the Houston Astros, 2 lefties, 5 righties. What stands out to you with the Los Angeles Angels?
Not much outside of the White Sox stream. I really don't have much. Like, I don't know. Mickey Moniak, I know you've been kind of talking to him a little bit, but I don't have much on the hitting side.
All I'm going to say is he's 99% rostered in OCs, but maybe in your Yahoos and CBS. Taylor Ward, he's back to hitting 325 with 7 home runs over his last 21 games. Hitting leadoff, he scored 16 runs and 11 RBIs. Taylor Ward's looked really good, really, really good. I picked him up in a couple of leagues this past week. A guy that we kind of, or at least I kind of threw to the curb earlier this year because he was so bad. If you need some for a couple of weeks, he's leading off every day and being productive. So Taylor Ward's a dude I would go back to the well on for the final 2 weeks of the season.
Yep.
Los Angeles Dodgers, 7 games coming up this week. They got at Atlanta on Monday, and then 3 at the Marlins, and then 3 at home versus the Rockies. The best hitting situation, according to Cato Walk, on the entire slate. 3 lefties, 4 righties, but it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, so not a whole lot you can do here, Ryan.
I agree. I saw a little screenshot of yours today. Congratulations, by the way. On this big DFS win. Could have been better.
Could have been better, man. That ticked me off, but still good.
But I happened to notice, so I think you won
my shortstop that you're gonna talk about.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so not only did you bag Edman these last couple weeks and Max Muncy, both of those guys were on your DFS winning lineup. So I just got to ask, what was the impetus? Was it just price? Super cheap?
They're cheap for Dodgers against bad pitchers, hitting in the middle of the order, and they're streaking right now. So I'll acknowledge when a player's played well. If you want to talk the full season sample size of what Edman's 12 games, we can. But otherwise, yes, Edman's back-to-back double-dong nights. That's impressive. That's big boy stuff. So I just took advantage of that. So I played Will Smith in that lineup too, by the way. So if you want to really throw,
I didn't see that. Oh God,
if you really want to bury me, my friend, I'll help you. Played Will Smith too. They all went deep for me. I had 4 home runs from the 3 of them. So
oh Jesus, I would have really given you shit if I saw Will Smith. I totally missed that.
Yeah. It was a Dodgers Cubs game stack, and the game's final was 10-8. And if Suzuki or Bellinger scored in the 9th, I would have made another $500. So that was the tilting part of that. Get caught stealing third base like an idiot. But yeah.
Right. Quick correction. I said Tommy Pham was 100% rostered in 12 teamers. It's 51%. I was on the wrong page. Sometimes
that will happen.
Anyway,
then he's definitely worth a look. And if he's 51% rostered. Anything else on the Dodgers? Because you can't really roster any of these guys because they already are rostered.
No, I was going to bring up the glass now thing, similar to what Michael brought up in the chat with Reese Olson. I think a lot of these pitchers coming back off an injury, they are not going to go. Like if Justin Steele comes back, it's not going to be pitching deep. And that's going to be a common theme these last couple weeks. So Tyler Glasnow, you probably get decent ratios if he pitches this coming week, but don't expect a win or a ton of Ks there.
Like Glasnow could be your Garrett Crochet type, if that's what you're into.
I mean, Yamamoto came back, struck out 8, but only went 4 innings in his, this past week. So I think that's the route they're going to take.
They're building the pitch count up. Like Darvish got his pitch count. Like they're working pitch counts up right now, which maybe by the final week of the year, they're up to 75 pitches or so. You never know, but yeah, that's a big what if on this one. All right, the Miami Marlins, they have 6 games coming up this week, all at home. 3 versus the Dodgers, 3 versus the Braves. Oof. 2 lefties, 4 righties. Mentioned earlier, Xavier Edwards sitting versus lefties of late. He's sat in 3 straight games, actually, which is fun. What are you liking with this team, if anything at all?
Yeah, I made a note, like, is Xavier Edwards hurt? Like, is that why he's not playing? But no, he's still coming in and pinch hitting. So I don't get that. I did randomly mention Otto Lopez at the top Not really sure why, but I did.
He's playing every day.
Playing every day. He's a decent middle infielder. I was comping him to Sajasi. So I think Otto Lopez, has done some things lately, and you could do worse up the middle in deeper formats. But outside of that, man, this Marlins lineup almost got no hit by Reed Detmers, Bailey Falter.
Yes.
And then tonight against Mitchell Parker looked just as bad. This is a bad lineup. Starting to become, we flip this to where you might want to pick up like Landon Knack and stream that if you can.
Could be something to think about going forward. Indeed. Milwaukee Brewers, they have 7 games coming up this week, all at home. 3 versus Philly, 4 versus Arizona. 1 lefty, 6 righties. I guess Garrett Mitchell might play 6 games this week.
Yep, that's what I got. That's what I got. Garrett Mitchell. I kind of said free Garrett Mitchell a couple weeks ago. He hasn't done a whole lot since then, but the playing time should at least be there. You got to be real desperate to go Jake Bowers, play these platoons with the six righties. Outside of that, I don't have much here.
Yeah, not a whole lot to go for. What I will throw out there, because I do it every week and I get kind of heckled for it, but Frankie Montas keeps throwing well, folks. Just going to put that out there.
Is he? What do we got? What's he doing?
Crush the Giants today, I'll tell you that much, which I go setting the bar high. But I'll pull up his game logs for you here. It's been fun in the DFS streets. But before tonight, 6 innings, 3 runs, 10 Ks versus Colorado. There's 4 runs at Cincy, at Oakland, and 7 shutout versus St. Louis, 5 shutout versus the Dodgers, and then 3 runs. So he's getting you decent ratios with like 6 or more Ks.
Yeah. All right.
So very serviceable is what I'll say. Very serviceable compared to some of the potential nasty blow-ups going out there. And to make it even more fun, Montas gets Philly next week, but the final week at Pittsburgh and against the Mets on the final day of the season, 2-step. So, and the Mets offense is not what it once was. Just going to throw that out there. Looking at their splits for the daily matchups, not good right now.
Huh. Okay. That's something I did not know. I just because the Mets were on fire.
They were. They have cooled down tremendously of late. Minnesota Twins, they have 7 games coming up this week. 4 at Cleveland, 3 at Boston, 2 lefties, 5 righties. You know what that sound is, Ryan?
That's a line change.
Yes, that's a line change. Are you going to add Matt Wallner finally, or are you just going to sit around and stare at the stat page some more?
and just like have saliva coming out of my mouth and just stare at it. Be like, Bubba, I was wrong. I think the Matt Wallner sale 88% rostered in 12 teamers, so that's gone.
He's like 12% like Yahoo. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, that's wild. So yeah, I would pick up Matt Wallner there. You got your Trevor Larnach. One interesting one in more of the Gene Segura category, because I have him active on a bunch of draft and holds, is your boy Slick Willie.
It's been bad.
It's been really bad, and he is not playing. He has lost, especially with Brooks Lee coming back at shortstop. Willie Castro is just playing the outfield and only playing about half the time. That's someone who I have had in my lineups, and he is kind of quietly not be doing anything. Yeah. Well, I can't draft in holds, but yes, in FAAB leagues you can absolutely, I think, drop Willie Castro. Maybe I think too highly of him, but he's been active, and I have not realized what little he has done lately.
Does Brooks Lee interest you at all?
Mildly. He hasn't been that great, but the playing time is there and will be there. I mean, that's one of your classic kind of auditions for going forward. So Brooks Lee in a deep league, I like him maybe along like the Otto Lopez line up the middle.
And the other guy I'll mention, because weekly he just does not get out, is Carlos Santana, 51% rostered. Since September 3rd, he's played in 8 games, hitting .308 with 3 home runs. He's walking 16%, striking out less than 10%. Like, the dude's balling out right now. So Carlos Santana should not be ignored for this final stretch run with these matchups they got going on.
Agreed.
New York Mets, they have 7 games this week. This is one of the Washington National specialties. They get 3 at home versus the Nationals, 4 against the Philadelphia Phillies, 5 lefties and 2 righties. And anybody of interest here, I'm going to pull up these splits while you talk.
Actually, the interesting thing is I think you need to bench Jesse Winker this week, and that I think that's something. Again, you look down your lineup sheet on Monday or whatever, you see Winker, you're going to keep him in there. He probably just starts 2 or 3 games next week. He'll probably come in for pinch hit situations and whatnot. But if you have viable alternatives, I think Jesse Winker is a sit this coming week. Harrison Bader probably picks up the majority of those at bats, and then I always have to shout out my guy who has not started any of the last 6 games, but Tyrone Taylor. I just love the dude. But I can't recommend picking him up. But if you need stolen bases, I think Harrison Bader is available and will pick up playing time in this lefty heavy week for the New York Metropolitans.
All right. So over the last month versus lefties, 22% K rate, 219 average, 108 WRC plus. So still above average, but that is a big drop off from where they once were. 5 lefties this week is huge, but right-handed pitching, the Mets over the last month, 27% K rate with a 237 average and a 105 WRC plus. So they're still like WRC plus still suggests they're a little above average, but the team has taken a massive step back from where they once were. So I just wanted to highlight it, saying they're not the pushover, or they're not this great lineup we once thought they were. You can target some dudes against them if you need to. New York Yankees, they have 6 games coming up this week, all on the road. 3 at Seattle, 3 at Oakland, 2 lefties, 4 righties. And I just want to look this up just for funsies here. What do we think the roster rate is for Jasson Dominguez right now?
Yeah, I was looking up. It is 34% in 12 teamers. So I think a lot of that is just was not picked up ahead of time, because when was he called up? Was it like
it was Monday?
Sunday? It was Sunday night or Monday? Okay.
That was Monday. After a FAAB. Yep, Monday.
So Jasson Dominguez is probably widely out there. And we talked about him on the Tuesday show. Can't project what he's going to do over these last 2 weeks, but he is going to play like that. That much is known. So Jasson Dominguez, worth emptying the FAAB wallet for. Maybe depends what you need. If you need a bat in the outfield, he certainly fits that mold and go for it, because he is going to play. Alex Verdugo has seen the bench out there. So I don't know who else. Rizzo,
if you want to, he's been just I'd get Carlos Santana.
Carlos Santana. He's on. Oh, okay. You'd rather have Carlos Santana?
Yes, than Rizzo. Yes.
I thought I missed another transaction there.
No. We'll stay with Dominguez. He's played 3 or 4 games, so yeah, he'll play pretty much on the reg. So I like that call quite a bit. Other than that, there's not a whole lot you can do with the Yankees unless you want Rizzo, which I would stay away from if you can. I'll say that much. And Austin Wells is finally 99% rostered, so that's glorious.
It is. It is glorious. It's absolutely fan-freaking-tastic.
Oakland Athletics, they have 6 games coming up this week. 3 at Wrigley Field, 3 at home versus the Yankees, 3 lefties, 3 righties. Not a lot you can do there because the guys you want to roster are rostered, and then you got platoon situations. So What are you thinking on this one?
I've talked about Seth Brown the last couple of weeks. It's been a decent run in deeper corner.
Been a very good run. Very good.
So, but this is not the week this is the week to cut Seth Brown, because he's only going to start those 3 times, and that's not enough. Nobody else in this lineup is worth adding who aren't, obviously your Butler, Rooker, Blade, those guys are Langoliers. Those guys are all widely rostered, but like Jacob Wilson, Max Schumann, even Ryan Noda's a platoon guy. You're gonna get some Daz Cameron, Tyler Nevin playing time this week, but yeah, none of those names interest me for FAAB.
Nope, don't need to live in those streets. Philadelphia Phillies, 7 games coming up this week. They have 3 at the Brew Crew, 4 at the Mets, 2 lefties, 5 righties. Not a whole lot I'm interested in though.
Nope, same kind of deal as what we talked about with Oakland, and what we've said pretty much all year with the Phillies. Their lineup is stable, and they're pretty much all universally rostered, with the exception of like at third base with Alec Bohm out. Cody Clements is playing, but not very interested in that. You've got Colby Allard starting this Saturday, also not interested in that. The skills of AAA for Colby Allard have been pretty bad, so a whole lot of nothing for me in Philadelphia.
Yep, with you on that. Pittsburgh Pirates, 7 games coming up this week. They have 3 at the Cardinals, 4 in Great American. 4 at the Cardinals, 3 at Great American Small Park. All right-handed pitching this week. Like Rowdy has been
Yes.
quiet, is what I'll say. But
He's
this
coming
could be the
back.
Rowdy week. This could be the Rowdy week.
This is the week to get Rowdy. 21% rostered in 12 teamers. You get those 3 games in Small Park. You get the 7 games against righties. Rowdy Tellez is the pickup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't see anyone else. Nick Gonzalez has hit pretty well, and I think plays every day at second base, even though he's a right-handed hitter. I think the playing time will be there. So Nick Gonzalez up the middle is decent, but I think Rowdy Tellez is an absolutely awesome stream, even though, like you said, he's been quiet lately, but it's time for the big man to get up here.
Yeah, I'm all for it. It's going to be great when Lance Lynn faces Rowdy Tellez. That's called tipping the scales, folks. San Diego Padres,
isn't it? Yep, that's going to happen.
It's going to happen. San Diego Padres, they have 6 games coming up this week, all at home, 3 versus Houston, 3 versus the White Sox, which is beautiful. 1 lefty, 5 righties. The problem, as usual, Ryan, they don't do platoon or anything.
Like, I don't even this entire season, what has been the best FAAB pickup for the Padres?
Jackson Merrill, if he wasn't drafted.
Yeah.
Xander Bogaerts, because everyone dropped him. I don't know.
An injured Xander Bogaerts, who we both picked up, and
it's actually Higashioka.
I guess.
Yeah, Campusano got sent back to AAA. He's been that bad. No one drafted Higashioka, and he's been very serviceable as a catcher too, I'll say.
But like for an entire team and even rotation, even closer, there has not been like outside of Higashioka in 2 catcher leagues.
Yeah.
He's got 16 home runs hitting 223. Like he's been good. It was decent for second catcher. There has been absolutely nothing on this team all year. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How stable things have been in San Diego. And I'm not crapping on the Padres. It's just it's been consistent for them.
Very, very consistent. Pretty impressive to see, all things considered. The San Francisco Giants, they have 6 games this week, 3 at Baltimore, 3 at Kansas City, all right-handed pitching. If you guys didn't listen to me last week, listen to me now. Mike Yastrzemski, especially going back to Baltimore. That's always a fun one, too. I guarantee he gets at least 1 home run in that series. So go pick up Mike Yastrzemski, please.
Yep, you were banging that drum last week, so kudos to that. And even looking ahead for the Giants over the last week of the season, who knows, again, what these rotations will be, but they're scheduled for 5 righties the last week of the season, with the sole lefty being Erod. So a ton of righties. Yeah, exactly. Ton of righties for the Giants going forward. So Yastrzemski continues to be a good pickup. And then you've got your, I don't know, OBP points league, Lamont Wade, catcher Grant McCray. That's about it. Right.
I'll throw Jared Encarnacion out there. After a couple more hits tonight, 7-game hitting streak. He's facing lefties and righties. He's basically the locked-in DH right now, which the Giants haven't had in forever. So I wouldn't completely walk away from Jared. He's played 3 of the last 4. 6 games next week. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays 4 or 5 games. Ton of power. So that'd be a guy to look at as well. Seattle Mariners, they have 6 games this week, 3 at home versus the Yanks, 3 at the Texas Rangers, 2 lefties, 4 righties. Ryan, these are your boys. What are you seeing in Seattle?
I'm seeing Victor Robles back at leadoff.
That's nice.
JP Crawford has been removed from his perch at the leadoff spot and been sent down. Now, no, this bad lineup continues to just get bad. Kumar Rocker rocked them tonight. On the pitching side, you've got Emerson Hancock most likely filling in for Luis Castillo. I'm not interested in that. What is interesting and not really actionable, but I like weird crap like this. Did you know how many Andres Munoz picked up a save on September 11th?
Yep.
It was his 2nd save since July 28th. That is insane. And that's not that's not an Andres Munoz thing.
No.
The Mariners have not had it's not like he's been removed from the role. The Mariners have not had a save outside of Munoz since before that. So the dude went all of August with 1 save, 2 saves since July 28th. That is just, for someone who is their closer, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's been ridiculous. Not a lot of save chances. I think he has 20 now. I think is what I talked about on the show last
Yeah,
night on
something like
first
that.
pitch.
Yeah.
He's at least approaching 20 saves, which is still not great. But yeah, weird situation there in Seattle, as expected. One thing I'll mention because they do strike out so much in Seattle. Clark Schmidt's returning from the IL this weekend. He'd face Seattle next week. He's 70% rostered, so pretty widely rostered in OCs, but probably very available elsewhere. So if you need a strikeout boost, that would be a dude to look at.
Good call. Good call.
St. Louis Cardinals, 7 games next week. They have all at home, which is nice. 4 at home versus Pittsburgh, 3 at home versus Cleveland, 2 lefties, 5 righties. So you got your boy with the funny last name, and what else you got? I had to make one joke. I had to make
We
one
got
joke.
it. That's got to
Yeah.
be his nickname from now on. Your boy with the funny last name. That would be Thomas
Sajacy.
JC.
JC. I can say it.
That's good. That's good. I don't know. That's Italian or what, but cool.
Don't tee me up right now.
So yes, JC's a decent ad in middle, but as we've talked about throughout the show, I think I like a few other middle infield options more than JC. Lars Nootbaar is I think not 79% rostered in 12 teamers. So you could get some Lars Nootbaar in your life against 5 righties. And then last but not least, Jordan Walker is playing every day, not doing anything with it, but you could always throw a dart there.
Shocker.
Yeah,
my pickup for St. Louis, like I said earlier, give me some Lance Lynn. Get the big man. He's got some fun schedules, especially the 2-step the final week of the year. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Rays, they have 6 games this week, all at home, 3 versus Boston, 3 versus Toronto, 6 right-handed pitchers for Tampa Bay. So this is like if you got Brandon Lau available. Jonathan Aranda hit a home run the other day, if that sparks your interest. But what are you looking at? Oh, there's one guy, but I won't take all the thunder. What do you like in here in Tampa Bay?
No, take it because I mean, yeah, Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe, Aranda are your lefties are going to pick up more playing time, but I don't think Aranda's that great. I think this homer this week was just his second of the season. So yeah, I don't know who you got.
44% rostered in OCs. Johnny DeLuca has been outstanding of late since August 27th. I know it's like a 2.5 week sample or so. Hitting 354, 2 homers, 10 runs scored, 3 stolen bases. So if you need some deep league love, Johnny DeLuca playing pretty regularly and hitting very, very well. So that'd be a dude I'd take a peek at if you're looking for some outfield help for the final few weeks.
Yep.
Just want to make sure he's actually playing regularly. Yeah,
he is
pretty much playing every day.
Against lefties and righties, mostly center field, but pretty much all 3 outfield spots. So I like it.
Yep. Get some Johnny DeLuca in your life. Texas Rangers coming up this week here with 6 games, all at home, 3 versus Toronto, 3 versus Seattle, 6 righties for Texas. But man, this Texas offense is one you could target these days.
Yes. You can. The thing is, there's really no one in terms of like who's facing Texas. It's Bassett, Bowden Francis, Gossman, Gilbert, George Kirby, maybe Brian Wu. No, he's healthy. I always think Brian Wu's hurt because he is. But
you see his cleats from Wednesday night?
No,
dude, custom cleats. He Pitching Ninja tweeted him out, and so did Wu. They had a Pitching Ninja graphic, and then on one side had Ric Flair doing the Wu thing. On the other side had Wu in big letters. Dude, it was sick. And then he dominated the Rangers.
I gotta look that one up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, so Texas. Like I think the big thing to talk about with Texas is Kumar Rocker. I mean, we've kind of danced around a little bit, but is he going to stay in the rotation? Did look fantastic tonight against the strikeout-prone Seattle Mariners. I think only went 4 innings, like 76 pitches.
Yep, correct.
You could say that he looked really good and is a must-add these last 2 weeks. You could also say that in terms of like shutdown candidates for someone that they want to preserve for next year, Kumar Rocker would be near the top of that list. So I don't know where to land on Kumar Rocker. So I'm curious what you think.
I'm going to watch this weekend because we have deGrom going Friday, Scherzer Saturday. No one's going to guarantee me they leave their start healthy. And that could leave Rocker. Like, I think by Sunday, before we lock in all our final FAAB, we'll have a good idea if Rocker's sticking or not. If he's sticking, I'm interested because the ratios, the strikeouts should be there. If you need wins, probably not your guy. Kind of what you're hinting at there. So it goes back to like he could be a Glass now type, a Crochet type. That's if he's efficient, he can go 5 probably. I just don't think they're going to push him. I think they just want him to get some big league innings and get ready for 2025. So
They
that in mind.
they
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I do too. It's just the team context and the workload. I just don't know. And yeah, maybe we'll get some clues this weekend. Jacob deGrom. This is maybe a little kind of a quirk of the NFBC, but Jacob deGrom, since he wasn't drafted in a ton of leagues, he's only 21% rostered in OCs. I would throw all my FAAB at Jacob deGrom. You're not doing it?
No.
What? Why not?
Well, I got it. Let me see what he does on Friday. Let's see what he does on Friday. I'm not like. Would you rather have deGrom or Glass now? Tell me the difference between the two. And if you like either one of them, tell me why you wouldn't want Crochet, who's been actually doing it every 5th day.
Because deGrom could go 5 innings, 5+. Crochet won't. deGrom is, for as good as Glass is, deGrom, if he's right, is like twice as good as Glass. He's that much better than everybody else.
Oh, I won't disagree with that. No.
So I don't know. There's just so much like, Glass may not go 5 innings and he start the rest of the season either. So I don't know. I would, but Glass is also not available on FAAB. Like if deGrom comes out and looks good on Friday and throws 5 innings, I'm throwing everything I have at deGrom if you need pitching.
Yeah, deGrom is set for Toronto next week and Oakland the final week of the season. Would you rather have the final 2 deGrom starts or 3 Albert Suarez starts?
What?
Well, Suarez has the awesome 2-step coming up. Okay, how about this? Would you rather have the potential 2 deGrom starts where you hope he gets 5 innings in each, or 2 Griffin Canning versus the White Sox starts?
Wait, what was the follow-up question?
Would you rather have deGrom, who you're hoping goes 5 innings for his last 2 starts, or Griffin Canning with back-to-back White Sox starts?
deGrom!
We're going to have some extra beer bets for the final 2 weeks of the season, folks. It's going to be fun.
Wow. So some of it hinges on what deGrom does on Friday.
It hinges
on what he does Friday. But like, if deGrom goes even 4 innings Friday, I'm taking him over. Yes, Albert Suarez and Griffin Canning.
I'm just throwing scenarios out there.
Quite confident in that.
Okay, confidence. I like it. Confidence is good. We might be texting beer bets after Friday to see how confident you still are on things. All right, and I like deGrom. Don't get me wrong. I just have a hard time going that direction right now, but I could be wrong. Right. Toronto Blue Jays, 6 games coming up next week, all on the road. 3 at Texas, 3 at Tampa Bay, 1 lefty, 5 righties. You got your Bargers, your Wagners, your Clements. There's a lot of Horwitz. There's a lot of dudes out there if you're feeling frisky, Ryan.
And Horwitz has been good. He's hitting 297, 7 homers over the last month. So I do think Horwitz is an ad. Bo Bichette is on a rehab assignment.
I'd rather pick up Jacob deGrom.
deGrom the hitter.
Yes.
Over Bichette. I figured I'd at least just throw that out there. We may get a week of Bo Bichette for what it's worth over the last week of the season. Outside of that, it is a nice schedule. Very nice schedule. Sulcer. Is that Cole Sulcer or is that a different Sulcer?
Yeah, it's Cole Sulcer. He opens. That's why it's by a bullpen game.
Jesus.
Yes, you're not seeing things.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyone else you got on Toronto? Addison Barger, but
like I said, Barger, Wagner. Wagner's profile is outstanding. It's just been the playing time, and
he doesn't
should
play
get a lot of it. Yeah. It's because he'll help. Knock on wood, locked in versus righties, plays a bit versus lefties. So Wags could be one of those for the final week as well. I like him and Horwitz, and then kind of go with the Bargers of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Washington wraps things up here. 7 games coming up here. They have 3 at the Mets, 4 at Wrigley Field, 5 lefties on tap out of the 7 games for the Nats. Anything standing out to you on this one?
You could in deep leagues maybe look at some Juan Yepez because it is 5 lefties. I think Yepez, he's a short side platooner and kind of the forgotten man. Not super confident in it, but I might take him over Rizzo just for this 1 week. See what happens, but outside of that, I think your good nationals and your hot nationals right now are pretty much all scooped up. Tanya, Chaparro, etc.
I agree. Trevor Williams coming back next week. That doesn't do it for me. Just wanted to throw that out there, but he will be back. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to look at something real quick for the final week of the year. It looks like every team plays 6 games only. These guys are just see. Oh, Cleveland only plays 5 games. Cincinnati only plays 5 games. The final week of the season. I knew I saw something. So what I was going to bring up there, like your big Christmas stuff like that, makes them even more probably droppable if you're looking for at-bats for the final week of the year. Just little things to think about when you're looking for who to drop potentially. The Reds and the Guardians only play 5 games the last week.
Good to know.
And Cincinnati is on the road for all 5, so no Great American Small Park either. So
in Colorado, I think almost all their remaining games are at home. Yeah, Colorado is at Coors all week next week, but again,
it's Colorado.
Colorado, man. God, what a waste.
Yep, the Dodgers final. Well, see the fun one, the Dodgers final 3 games in Colorado. Who's going to start those games? Because they should have it all wrapped up by then. That's always a fun one as well.
Yeah, that's the deal for a lot of teams by then. We did have Michael in the chat. Did we mention Soderstrom? Tyler Soderstrom returns this weekend. Good power, but 3 lefties on deck, not great. So yeah,
he'll probably force Noda back to AAA is my guess.
Yeah.
So see where that goes. But final thoughts on the schedule. Ryan's fun that there's no 5 gamers at least this week. It's been a few weeks since we've seen that. Get a little Great American for us. Get a little Coors for us. Yep. Last taste of Great American. People are going to be so sad. I'm not going to say Great American Small Park on the show anymore.
Yeah, I think that was actually I think that was a 5-star review, but it was despite that. So we overcame despite your nicknames.
Yeah,
I got nothing else on the schedule now.
All right, let's talk CBS then. Most added and dropped over here at the CBS. Ryan, let's start with the hitting side of things, and there's one Spencer Horwitz at the top of the board. Go figure. What else stands out to you here?
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge, and should continue to play a bunch for Toronto this coming week. We've got our usual year-to-date skills, so it's not only CBS ownership increases, but in true Bloomboard style, we've got the K rate, barrel rate, and stolen base attempt rate. Spencer Horwitz, Oregon Duck Green, almost on the K rate and a good barrel rate. So you gotta like that. We mentioned Trevor Story. He's the second highest riser in terms of hitters on CBS from 16 to 27%. Can't really, look at his skills with a grain of salt, but the playing time's there and the track record is. Seth Brown is not an option, third highest riser, but that's because Oakland had a pretty heavy right-handed pitching week. And then here's your boy, Johnny DeLuca, number 4.
Yes.
So
that's a big one. I feel bad. We should have mentioned Ty France with the full week in Cincinnati.
I made a note on him. I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, Ty France is absolutely an ad in Great American Small Park and an attractive corner infield ad at that, 38% in 12 teamers.
Definitely someone that should be added. I still like Carlos Santana a lot, but the 6 games in Great American, I'd probably put Ty France above Carlos Santana for this week. So something to think about. Chaparro's right there. I've been rostering him for quite a while. It's good to see Parker Meadows finally getting some love there in the CBS streets. That's good.
I don't know how he's only 31% rostered.
Same with Matt Wallner, only 31% rostered. It's pretty crazy. 20% barrel rate. 20% barrel rate.
For who? Parker Meadows?
Matt Wallner. 31% rostered also.
I noticed that when I was drooling at the screen last night.
Still strikes out a lot. There's your argument you give me every time. Give me that argument every time.
No, but the K rate's gotten a lot better. It's gone from, I mentioned this, I think last week, Wallner's K rate has gone from like 40 in the 40s to the 30s over the last month, which for him, that's a big improvement. The 30s is still really bad. He's at 36% for the season, but a 30% strikeout rate, Matt Wallner, is certainly doable given the power that he has.
Other than that, when you look at this list, like there's Fraley, who's a good stream. You mentioned Otto Lopez. Geloff's, you got to be pretty desperate. Like I like Geloff, but it's been very, very streaky with Zach Geloff. Moniak, Sanchez has been ice cold of late. The bottom part of this list is pretty rough. Then you got Pavin Smith at the bottom. So
Yeah, at the bottom you do have your Pavin Smith up from 0 to 2%. Again, like I would much rather have Ty France than Pavin Smith.
Yes.
But so much depends on your league size. So we're trying to cater to all league formats when we try and do this show. Easier said than done, but that's the goal. Santiago Espinal is a riser, up from 7 to 9%. I mentioned him with Cincinnati, again, all at home, but even though he plays third base every day, there's not a whole lot of juice there. So I believe we covered pretty much everyone else on this riser list throughout our team by team thing. So that's always the goal.
I agree. Let's talk some pitchers here, and good old Kumar leading the way. No surprise there, honestly.
Kumar or deGrom?
Ooh, if you told me Kumar gets 2 more starts, I'd take Kumar.
Okay. Incorrect, but we'll go with it. No, they could both be all. Honestly, because I think a lot of people, that might be the decision if you're going to spend a bunch on FAAB, is which Texas starter to go with. So.
deGrom will go for most people's FAAB. Let's put it that way. So if you don't want to spend up and you want to do other things, don't even waste your. Well, I never say that. In OCs, he'll go for $1 somewhere. I guarantee you.
Yep.
Like that's just the way it works. But hey, I'll put bids in for deGrom. I'm not saying I won't. But I'm not spending my entire like $12 I have left either.
But I think the other move too in shallower leagues is like I might take Reed Detmers over both, because he does get that 2-step, and one of them is against the White Sox. And Reed Detmers, well, see, we're agreeing on stuff.
Look at the green. Look at the green, man. Look at this.
Yeah. Really good stuff from Reed Detmers. The results have been awful, but pitched well in his last outing. He looks a lot better. So yes, Reed Detmers with that 2-step. I don't think will cost your deGrom, Kumar, Rocker prices, and could be just as valuable.
Neither one of us talked Rhett Lauder. He's a popular ad here. I
know.
I don't like. He's so much pitch to contact. I want nothing to do with that, especially going to Great American.
He made us look bad. With his most recent start, but I'm still, again, the strikeouts and walks are not there. The whiffs are not there, and he's not throwing strikes. It's he could very well pitch well these last few starts and make me look bad, but I always just trust the underlying skills over what we see on ERA and earned runs and all that stuff. And I'm just not seeing enough from Rhett Lauder, but it is proving me wrong so far.
Yep. You mentioned Porter Hodge. Luke Weaver's been getting a lot of ninth inning or late inning work with the Yankees. I'm not willing to put my money behind Luke Weaver because that's still a moving, like, revolving door in the Bronx, but he's getting some love, and he actually looks. I watched him on Wednesday. He looks a lot better just letting it rip compared to trying to be a starter. I'll give him that much.
Yeah, and did get the most recent Yankees save. So we didn't really bring up any closer ads this week. So if you are desperate for saves, and again, points are points, categories are categories, Luke Weaver might get 1 or 2 more, or 0, because it might be a committee and the Yankees want to be, what'd they say, creative.
Creative. Yes, that was the words.
With their
that was the word salad they gave us. Creative.
Yeah. David Festa continues to piss me off. Big time.
That one hurt,
dude. But I think
skills are good. Skills are very good.
I think he's a good pitcher, and I think I had a 2-step this week, so I think pitches this weekend.
Yes, he does.
Festa, his next start coming up would be against Minnesota, against the Red Sox, and then the Marlins the final week of the season. So I still like that.
Good starts. The Red Sox aren't the world beaters they once were, so it's not bad.
Festa's like the anti-Rhett Lauder.
Yes.
In terms of like the results are not there, the skills are, and Lauder it's been completely opposite.
Yep, I'd take my chances in that head-to-head for sure.
Same.
DJ Hers, my dog, is right there. He keeps doing it, near 18% K to walk since August 1st. Very, very formidable out there on the bump. Povich let us all down in a big way.
He did not look good against Boston. Gets one more this weekend against Detroit, which is no walk in the park, as we talked about earlier. So yeah, I don't know. We did pump up Povich quite a bit last week. I thought that was a pretty good 2-step. Still might be, depending how he does with Detroit, but that was disappointing to see him kind of throw up against the Red Sox, who have been terrible against lefties lately.
Yep, very, very rough stuff there. You mentioned Landon Knack. It's just if Glasnow comes back, Knack goes bye-bye. So that's my only concern there with
Maybe.
him.
Or Miller. I mean, right
Good
now,
point.
RotoWire has Knack
Good
on
point.
Wednesday and Glasnow on Friday.
That's a good point. Miller should be the guy out. It's been brutal stuff there from Bobby.
So I think Knack is a sneaky good pickup stream. The skills aren't anything special, but high win potential when we're talking about the Dodgers against the Marlins.
No, I like that call. Landon Knack has been very serviceable. That's for darn sure. But Dean Kramer looked great against Boston. He was in that DFS lineup of mine, less than 5% rostered. That was glorious. But he's always 2 pitches away from pretty much ruining your night too. So keep that in mind.
Yes, very true.
Tyler Holton, who you mentioned before, he pitches on Friday. See how that goes. But as far as I know, he's actually starting on Friday. He's been following an opener pretty much every time out there. Still going 5+. Like his last 3 starts, 15 in the third innings, or last 3 outings, I should say. I got 12 Ks over those. I wrote him up for the daily matchups for Friday, and he's looked good. I'm just curious how sustainable it is because he's not like overwhelming, but like I said, people probably hate me saying it. He's been serviceable, and that's really all you want this time of the year. So, something to keep in mind also.
Yeah, getting some volume, but so much depends on the piggyback thing. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. There's Foley and Ursig. Foley's been a machine closing, taking over for Detroit, and Ursig's been awesome too. So, if they're somehow available, they're widely rostered in OCs. But in your other formats, you mentioned we didn't talk closers. Those are 2 of the guys I would love to go take chances on.
Agreed. We've got Paul Blackburn as a riser. That was a brutal 2-step gone wrong, or that didn't even happen. I guess
didn't even happen.
Tyler McGill is up. Alex Cobb was a riser. He's on the IL. Here's your boy,
Albert Suarez, baby.
Albert deGrom Suarez.
He's like he's not red rare. He's more like medium.
He's medium rare, yeah.
Which sums up how hard it is to freaking start this guy.
I know.
Like he's not horrible. So you look at the good matchup, you're like, okay, this is kind of where we flip the coin and stream. But then it's just like, God, he's literally a pitch away from being so bad.
But to recap, it is 2 home starts, one against the Giants and one against Detroit. Like you gotta roll with that in that park with that team context. Albert Suarez. I mean, I agree. He's no, Jacob deGrom, is nothing compared to him, but Suarez is a decent ad.
Yep. Edric Cabrera has been actually really, really good of late. Really, really good. The walks have been down. It's like last 4 or 5 starts. Strikeouts have been there. So let's see who he actually has coming up for the matchups to see if it's even worth continuing on this crazy train. But Edward gets the Dodgers. Oof. And then Minnesota, I probably still wouldn't be going that direction.
Yeah, that's a tough roll against the Dodgers, who are they are healthy and they're hitting, especially if Edman and
let's wait for that.
Muncy, your shadow boys, continue to hit well.
JT Jen got widely rostered because of the matchup with the White Sox that I believe we see on Friday. So that'll be one to see how that one plays out. And you want to talk about another tilting ad drop this week? The Osvaldo Bido 2-step gone to the IL situation. That one went straight to the core. To the core on that one. And then he's set to return for a 2-step the last week of the year against Texas and Seattle. So do you drop them or do you hold on for that last?
Bido set to return for a 2-step? I doubt it.
I doubt it too. But one guy we didn't mention is Brady Basso. Got called up when Bido went down. He gets the Cubs next week. Basso's, I think, really, really good. I wrote him up for HQ PT tomorrow a while back. Strikeouts are legit. I just don't know if I want to mess with the Cubs. So if you're in a deeper league, but this also brought me back to JT Jen against the Yankees next week. So it's probably a one and done for Mr. Jen.
Yeah, good call on Basso. Yeah, the Cubs matchup might be tough, but really good swinging strike and ball rate numbers in the minors. Really good K to walk. So,
and if Bido doesn't come back, Basso likely takes that 2-step.
That's Bido and Basso.
Yep. Let's keep that in mind. Anybody else, Ryan, when it comes to these ads for the week? Because basically the bottom half of both of these hitting and pitching sections show you that we are in week 26.
Yes, we are. And I do think, like, especially for pitching, this coming week is the last week where I think we can reliably, and even then it's starting to get dicey, reliably count on a lot of these guys to go 5, because as will be the theme of our show next Thursday. It's gonna be a throw up our hands Thursday, because it's gonna be tough. But I don't know. I think we laid out a few different options for a bunch of folks. So hopefully that helps out on this penultimate FAAB period coming up.
All right, before we finish that up, let's do some two-step start sits, and the fun begins. Arizona Diamondbacks, Merrill Kelly and Ryan Nelson at Coors at Milwaukee.
Yes and yes. If Kelly makes those, didn't he have like a cramp or something?
Left with a hamstring cramp. They're saying he's fine, but you know how that goes.
That was brutal, because they Diamondbacks had a huge lead, and Kelly was in the 5th inning and couldn't get through the 5th.
Couldn't stumble through it. Which was an absolute bummer. All right, let's talk Atlanta, Max Fried, Dodgers, and Miami.
Yes, absolutely.
See, right now they have Ian Anderson at Cincinnati, at Miami. So Anderson's an option too. He's been down in AAA. So Ian Anderson, AJ Smith-Shawver, Grant Holmes. Do you like all three?
Yeah,
none of the three?
I don't like Anderson that much, and I think this is just a guess on RotoWire's part. For sure. Right, they have to throw a name in there, so we don't know. Ian Anderson has not pitched well in AAA this year, so I think you're still rooting for AJ Smith-Shawver there.
Yep, I'm with you. Would you start the two-step
with AJSS?
At Cincy, at Miami.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. Let's roll. Baltimore, Albert Suarez, Giants, Tigers. Oh my.
Yeah, yes, but slightly below deGrom on my bid list this coming week.
just slightly. Boston Red Sox, Nick Pivetta at Tampa, Minnesota. That's a yes. Cubs, Monaga, you're starting. But this one's fun. Jordan Wicks versus Oakland versus Washington. Wicks got lit up against Tommy Edman and company.
Yeah, I'm not turning up the wick on this one. I think you're
turning up the wick for what? All right. Cleveland, Matt Boyd.
That was something.
Matt Boyd versus Minnesota at St. Louis.
Wick for what? Oh my God. What'd you say?
Matt Boyd versus Minnesota at St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Matt Boyd had a disappointment. He had 9 Ks, but didn't get the win against the White Sox. So we had a bunch of unearned runs. But yeah, you roll Matt Boyd, and I think you roll Gavin Williams.
I would. He's been good. He's good. He's been pitching really well. I would do it.
All right. I'll trust you on that.
We're gonna skip the White Sox. You just don't start any other pitchers. Casey Mize at Kansas City, at Baltimore. Mize did not look great on Wednesday.
Did not at Baltimore. Still scares the crap out of me. I think maybe in 15 teamers, but you got to be pretty desperate here, I think.
Yep, I'm with you 100% on that. Eric Getty at San Diego versus the Angels.
Yeah, yes.
Seth Lugo, you're starting. Reed Detmers versus the White Sox at Houston. Yes,
absolutely.
Yamamoto at Atlanta versus Colorado.
So yes, but you may get the 4-inning treatment again, which again isn't the end of the world. It could be 4 innings, and like I said, Yamamoto's first start back, I think it was 8 strikeouts, and get decent ratios on top of that. So yes, let's just hope he goes 5, and he might. If he went 4 in his first start back, you are trying to build that postseason. So yeah, Yamamoto for sure.
I'm going to say this just because I think we have to, but McCoffin of Miami versus LA at versus Atlanta. No,
put him in the coffin and not in your lineup.
Milwaukee,
That's a different Cy volley. That was a hell of a
Cy volley versus Philadelphia versus Arizona.
SIGH volley. I love my guy, but Philly and Arizona, that is brutal. I don't think you start either of these guys.
Yeah, Colin Ray either.
Ray.
Yeah.
Maybe Ray, but like no.
Remember when Ray had a low ERA? Now it's up to 4.21. It's fine. Regression has finally come, folks.
12 wins. 12 wins for Colin Ray.
Must be nice.
Kill the win.
Yep. Pablo Lopez, you're starting. Zevy Matthews at Cleveland, at Boston.
So I
Very
picked up
inconsistent.
Zebby Matthews to stream this week because it was against the Angels, and he got lifted in the 4th inning, 61 pitches, and wasn't
Not
pitching
bad.
like fantastic, but wasn't pitching that bad either. So I don't, and this is also like a shutdown or maybe a slowdown type thing. I don't know. Despite the 2-step, I don't know if you're getting 5 innings from Zebby Matthews, given what we saw from Rocco pulling him so early in the last start. So just be careful with that. I think if you're desperate in 15 teamers, you can go Zebby Matthews. He has pitched much better than his 7.11 ERA, but you may only get 3 to 4 innings in each start here.
I agree with all of that. So very, very well said. The Mets, you're starting Sean Manaea because he is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Miguel versus the Nationals versus Philadelphia.
I'm hesitant. 50-50 in 15 teamers. I wouldn't touch him in 12s.
And that's assuming he still has those starts because Blackburn he's got a stiff back, but he didn't get put back on the clock didn't restart on the IL is what I'm trying to say. So Blackburn could come back and screw up that 2-step at any time.
It's true. He was not officially activated,
yes.
right?
So yeah, he could literally come back tomorrow if he feels better and they want to bring him back. So keep an eye on that one. Miguel is not locked in to those 2 steps. Oakland, Joey Estes at the Cubs versus the Yankees. Estes has been good too, but that's not been good for him.
Yeah, I don't think so. The Cubs have been awesome lately, and the Yankees are the Yankees.
You're starting Suarez and Wheeler for Philly. You're starting Skeens for Pittsburgh. Probably starting Darvish too, right? Versus Houston versus the White Sox for sure. So start Darvish.
Sure. Yep.
Brian Wu, you're starting. Robbie Ray's supposed to be back at Baltimore at Kansas City.
I don't. You know better than me, but you'll get some Ks if you need Ks.
Yeah, if you need strikeouts, he could literally leave the week with like 14 Ks.
That's the punt. That's the punt answer. Is like if it depends on your ratios or your Ks, how badly you need them. I mean, do you think Ray goes 5 innings? It's a hamstring, right? It's not an arm.
Yeah,
injury,
that's. I think if he's back, he's back. There's no reason to bring him back if he's not ready to pitch. There's zero reason to bring him back.
Yeah. So I'd lean towards going with it.
I think they want to get as many innings in these final 2 weeks from him to get him ready for 2025. So
which would make sense.
I think if he's coming back, he's coming to throw innings. So just keep that in mind. Palante versus Pittsburgh versus Cleveland.
Nah.
I've never been a Palante guy. Shane Baz versus Boston versus Toronto. Baz looked pretty good of late.
Yeah, he's been pretty good lately. I'd roll with Shane Baz in most formats there.
Eovaldi you're rolling with. Chris Bassett at Texas at Tampa. Great. That's actually not bad.
Dude randomly has a lot of decisions. 10 and 13. Like that's a lot of wins and a lot of losses.
It throws a lot of innings.
I don't know.
Yeah, you start him in those matchups.
I think so.
That's pretty good matchups to finish things out. And with the Nats, Jake Irvin at the Mets at the Cubs. And he's slowing down. The season's kind of getting to him, I think.
He is somewhat in uncharted waters in terms of workload. What do we got here for the last month? We've got a 18% K rate, which is really low. Not many whiffs. 15 teamers only for me for Jake Irvin.
Yep. 15 only, and just be careful. That's all I'm going to say on that one. All right, got a couple listener questions here, Ryan, before we head on out of here. Let me open it up. All right, calling my shot. Our buddy says, how are your seasons going, fellas? Which leagues are you making the strongest push in these last 2 weeks? And how are you planning to attack the standings in FAAB this weekend for those teams? I know we're going to recap everything when the season's over, but what are your thoughts on this? Because I think we kind of hinted at it throughout the entire show is there's a lot of different players based on what stats you're looking for in Roto.
Yeah, and we'll probably do maybe half an episode on just our teams. I know some people don't care, others do, but I think it is from an accountability standpoint important. My team, just real quick, my teams, I'm sweating a bunch of leagues right now, which is a good thing. In September, I'm winning my TGFBI league, which is kind of nice. In the upper third in a bunch of leagues where like the top 3 cash. So I am I'm sweating that out. There's a good chunk of change on the line these last couple of weeks. So I'll just kind of leave it at that.
I'm with you. I have a lot of like anywhere from 3rd to 6th place teams, and there's
Yeah.
room to be made in some of these. And I'm winning an OC, trying to hold on there. I got a 10-point lead, so I better hold on. But I've seen worse things happen. And then I got like an OC where I'm 4th in, and an OC where I rotate between 3rd and 5th, but only the top 2 pay out in that. And second's only like 6 points away. So it's like
that's
it's a
in
very
reach. It's in reach.
So there's like movement that can be made. So I'm going to be fighting hard to gain points in those. And then it's just a bunch of like DCs can't do a lot in except keep praying I set the right lineups and make some moves because I have a bunch between 2nd and 5th place, which is like could be a lot of money or no money.
I'm like 2 points out of 1st and 3 points from not being in the money at all. So it's just, but again, in DCs are draft and hold, so there's no FAAB. There's only so much you can kind of do there. But to go to, and yeah, we'll follow up more on that with the show sometime after the season, because we are continuing to do 2 shows every week all season. The other part of calling my shots question was basically about like categories and all that. So I'll just give an example. In my biggest money league that I'm currently sweating out, I am 10 points in saves behind the next guy and 8 saves. Sorry, I'm 10 saves behind the next guy, and I'm 8 saves ahead of the guy behind me. So closers mean pretty much nothing to me. And so not only like I've been rolling with 8 starters and 1 closer. That 1 closer is Emmanuel Clase, because I mean he's just like a monster anyway and can pitch 3 or 4 innings. But like, and I think we have another listener question with like how ruthless on drops we should be. Like, I don't think it's that crazy for me to drop Emmanuel Clase at this point. Everything is categories. Emmanuel Clase, unless he gets a vulture win, the ratios will be there to get some Ks, so that helps. Doesn't do much for me if I need a bunch of strikeouts and wins. So keep that in mind. And I think the other question was like, well, we'll get there. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. No, it's our buddy SMMS79 on Twitter. How aggressive would you be with drops if you have standings points to gain on one side of the ball versus little to gain on the other? So your saves question. He says, i.e. dropping a good closer for hitting because you are locked into your saves position. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's time to get down to business, basically.
Now's the time. And there is some kind of FOMO. Like I do drop Class A, and I probably won't, but if I do drop Class A, like I'm not too worried about someone picking him up because they
can only pick him up for the last week.
Right. They can only get him for the last week at this point. And
they play 6 games. He's not getting 6 saves.
So yeah. So I think it's and it goes against kind of you want like your studs to be on your roster at the end of the year, because you know they got you there and all that. That means nothing. Like you can drop these guys, as painful as it might sound.
And it's like something we'll talk more about next week also, but you're getting to the point where you don't need a bunch of bench pitchers because you're not going to use them. Like next week, you should have 0 bench pitchers left because you don't need any of them. And that's when you start maximizing your biweekly moves. So you can start maximizing your biweekly hitting moves right now. Like if you want, say you want the 3 games in Coors to start the week and then they leave Coors, get a bunch of guys to play the Coors week and then guys to fill in for them for the second half of the week. Is what I'm trying to say. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff you can do also and get you ready. So definitely a time to, they served their purpose. Thanks for your hard work, but we're moving on for the final 2 weeks of the year to your players type thing.
Yep.
Michael Cicchini, who's also been in the chat as usual. Awesome as usual. And he hint on this. Lance Lynn is back, 38% in OCs. Pretty good 2-step pick. Cleveland, are we in? Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, we are in. Indeed. We got a question in the chat here from Stephen Crawford as well. Best stream for Friday, Fede versus the Blue Jays, Hers versus the Marlins, or Knack versus the Braves. Hoping for a win and good ERA whip. K is not a big deal. I'll let you go first on this one.
It's DJ Hers, I think pretty sizably. I mean, we don't know one start, but like I said, I've been watching the Marlins this week against lefties. They look terrible against Bailey Falter and Mitchell Parker, and DJ Hers is a step up from that. So I'd go DJ Hers, and good luck, Steven.
Yep, it's Hers all the way home. So yes, I'm with you for sure. But that'll do it, Ryan. Another episode in the books. We've got one more week of FAAB to preview after this. Any final thoughts as we're on the stretch run, and there's still people who must be going hard at it because you guys are hanging out, and we appreciate it.
It's the big thing. I think we also got a comment to just on Twitter when we there are championships on the line, so we're doing our best to keep. I know the Tuesday shows and Bloom boards we start to do a little 2025 look, but these Thursday shows really trying to kind of grind this out with everyone who has followed us all year, and we appreciate it. And hopefully it pays off with some hardware in 2 weeks from now.
Yep, it'll hopefully pay off. We'll recap ours on that Tuesday after the season. If you guys want to send us your goods, we'll recap it on the show for you guys as listeners.
Yes.
And give you some shout outs for that as well. But we'll get to that when that time comes. We got to keep grinding it out. So we'll be back with you guys on Tuesday with some sort of Bloom board with yes, probably a look a bit towards 2025 because that's the reality of the world. And then Thursday, your final FAAB preview as we take this bad boy home. But until then, make sure you check out Ryan on Twitter at RyanBHQ, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod. I'm at BD Intric, and we will catch you guys next time.